Hello all you YouTubers out there. I made this video as a reference for all who might be interested in attempting a build like this. This is the final in a 3-part series of the Moose the Manbalance build. Here we go. You know, it's impossible to give every detail of the body swap part of this build, but I will give the highlights and what issues you can expect to run into. There are many ways to go about a build like this, and like I always say, I'm no welder, not a fabricator, just a man that likes to learn and do things my own way. Hopefully, this video will help you in one way or another. To bring you up to speed, I wanted an old truck with 4-wheel drive, a dually rear end, and a Cummins 12-valve engine. I also wanted a manual transmission and no computers on the whole rig. This thing was going to pull a travel trailer across the country and hit the car shows along the way. Now here we are with a 1-ton 1962 Chevy C30 panel truck / ambulance and a now running 95 Dodge 3500 1-ton dually 4x4 with a manual transmission. Here we go. After finally getting my 2 donor trucks running and roadworthy ready, it was time to do the swap. First off, big thanks to the boys and the girls of the Piston Broke Car Club. After I got the trucks ready, John, or T-Bucket, offered his fresh backyard 2-post lift to do the honors. I was happy to take him up on the offer since I was 6 hours away from El Rey's back in LA. I drove both trucks in, and after a day of wrenching with 5 guys from the club, I had no truck to drive away in. The first thing we did was remove the cab and bed from the Dodge. Then John used his forklift to stash the body in the backyard. After we had some tri-tip, we decided to go ahead and remove the big 62 Chevy body from its old frame too.
How are you?
I'm good. Comfortable?
Shit, yeah, so nice.
Not right now.
This is the way you do it. Fuck! Y'all try it, hold on. What you want a different tool? Let me get you a different tool. Oh, it's a tornado! Let's get Brian. Let's try it again, Brian. Hold on. Wait. Oh, God! Oh!
Oh, let me see. Yeah, he cut himself.
We did this all before dark. Unreal amount of work done with some talented guys right here in the backyard. No fancy shop here. Next, John used his forklift to bring the newer Dodge 4x4 Cummins chassis in underneath the Chevy. We put wheel dollies under the chassis to get it into the best position possible and check fitment issues. Before we did the body swap, I checked to make sure the killer dowel pin repair had been done. I figured it had since there were so many miles on this beast. Has the KDP killer dowel pin been taken care of? Let's take a look. Oh no, there it is, look at that. Never been touched. It's a good thing we checked. All right. Whoa, I couldn't believe it. Never been done, and the pin was about a 1/4 inch outside of its hole. While in there, I went ahead and replaced the water pump too. I also installed a fresh set of valve cover gaskets while everything was opened up. Old T-Bucket went ahead and lopped off the purchase on the Dodge with a plasma cutter. He also used a porta band saw on these purchases too. I plan to rework these purchase and mounts with some fresh polyurethane bushings from Energy Suspension. After cutting some of the wheel wells out to let the body down over the big Dodge frame, we were finally finding a decent position for the body to sit. In this case, the Dodge hood area is longer than the Chevy. After cutting a bunch out from behind the Chevy grille, we were able to make it all fit. After moving the body up and down, left and right, measuring distances from here to there on both sides, I was finally okay with the position of the body on the frame. It was time to create the new body mounts. When dropping the body on the frame, it was hugely important to measure how much the wheels would move upward in the wheel wells when the body weight was on the chassis. In this case, the wheels in the rear moved up approximately 6 inches when the wheels in the front only moved up 3 inches. This is super important because if I were to drop the body on level, then when all body weight was added, the rear would seem to sag. Add cargo and the weight of the trailer, and then we would have a seriously funny looking sagging tow rig. Again, very important, lay the body on the frame and measure how much those wheels move upward into the wheel wells before you make your mounting locations. You'll be glad you did. I got the body in place and started reworking the Dodge factory purchase to locations where Chevy mounts would normally be. I used my new Energy Suspension body mounts to give me exact heights, and then I tacked the purchase into place. After I had them all tacked into places I wanted them, T-Bucket and Old Bacon went ahead and added the final dinosaur welds. After the purchase were done, the body was lowered onto the frame with the new Energy Suspension body mount bushings.
Off the rack here. Back here. Oh, baby. Tell me I got a good stance on this. Oh, baby, please tell me I got a good stance. Hell yeah.
One of the puzzles we ran into was the steering shaft. Luckily, the shaft from the Chevy had a coupler that after some modification on the Dodge shaft slid right on in. Even though it was tightened down, we went ahead and put a bolt through just to make sure it wouldn't come apart. Another major puzzle we ran into was the Dodge brake booster. Because the engine area is smaller than the Dodge, the booster mounting bracket had to be cut, shortened, and re-welded to have the booster free from interference. After some cutting and grinding, I was able to install the complete Dodge pedal assembly, clutch, brake, and throttle pedals up into the interior firewall area. I also had to cut the floor open a bit, weld in a patch piece so the Dodge stick shift and 4x4 stick would work. I was very lucky with the placement of these sticks. Because the brake booster was now closer to the firewall, T-Bucket fabbed up the brake pedal push rod to be shorter but with a threaded end and adjustable. I created a square hole for the Dodge factory throttle cable to go through the firewall, just like Dodge had. Because we eliminated all the Dodge wiring and ECM, I used a GM one-wire alternator to do the charging duties. A little fab work made it fit nicely. There was little room in the engine area for the dual battery setup, so I made a nice area behind the seat to house the big batteries. Because there's no computer talking to the ignition, I used my old choke cable as my kill switch. This thing simply cuts off fuel supply to the diesel to shut it down. I also eliminated the Dodge rear ABS system. figured out the brake line routing, and created new brake lines for front and rear brakes. I wanted this truck to be as simple as possible. When we pulled the 62 body off of the frame, we marked all the wiring that was cut so I could splice them together again when the body was dropped on the new Dodge frame. I used none of the Dodge wiring at all. After the body was bolted down to the frame, it was time to figure out the front radiator and intercooler mounting.
$3,000 hooker. It's tight like a $3,000 hooker. They're not very used.
After a bunch of cutting and trimming behind the Chevy grille, I finally had it all in there. I did have to put spacers on the fan bolts to get the fan blades closer to the engine. It was just too close to the radiator. At this point, the Chevy body was finally resting on the big Dodge 3500 chassis. The pedals for the clutch, throttle control, and braking were all done. I rewired the old ignition to fire up the big Cummins. We now had a functioning, rolling, working truck. There are still a few things to tackle though. The Dodge frame needed to be extended in the rear to accommodate the extra length of the 62 body and to support the trailer hitch salvaged from the Dodge. The other part of the puzzle was to fabricate a new front heavy-duty bumper mount. The very last piece of the puzzle was a big one. Those rear fender flares to take care of the extra width of the dualies, and I had to have some type of mud flaps. One idea that was very close to actually happening was to use 1955 through 1966 step side rear fenders off a GM truck. These would actually work with some modification, but I'd have to paint them to match and it would cover up that old hand-painted signage on the truck. I went with my original idea of hillbilly fender flares. I wanted a kind of torn off sleeves look that was clean and simple. I used a deck of cards to get the right shape and went after it with a sheet of heavy duty plastic donated from a buddy in the area. Whatever this stuff came from was exactly what I was looking for. After all was said and done, we had a one-of-a-kind Cummins-powered vintage SUV with four-wheel drive, a manual transmission, and a big heavy-duty rear end to pull our trailer across the country. All mechanical and not one computer on the whole rig. We should have more than enough pulling power and decent fuel economy too. Only one way to find out. Time to hit the road and continue the nationwide danger ride. Many thanks for watching. If you're still here, check out these outtakes from after the build. These are now my lifelong brothers, and here's their take on the whole situation. Have a good one. We'll see you out on the road somewhere.
Man, I thought we knocked it out pretty good that first day.
Yeah, that was pretty.
We had two cars taking apart, and the second one starting to land on top of the other one.
The first day, I gotta tell you, I never worked with anybody before, and for me, I was skeptical. It's like, man, I don't like working with people, like just people, especially people you don't know.
Especially people you've only known for a couple hours.
Right. It's like, and
Well,
everybody's
we went way back at that point. We met at least two times before.
Twice, 4 hours at a time. We had almost 26 beers.
Two barbecues and a handshake.
Yeah, 2 barbecues and a handshake, pretty much.
We're good to go.
And but you guys killed it. One day from 11 till dark, 2 bodies off the frame. That was amazing.
And the ambulance starting to come down on the other chassis just for
just to kind of see where it was
like
at.
Yeah.
Right at the end of the first day.
Yeah, that was crazy. I thought that
And
was
it actually
insane.
fit in pretty good.
Yeah,
Like everything.
Yeah.
I was scared about fitment.
I was
You know,
afraid
I
we
was
were going to
thinking
have to cut the
fitment was gonna
firewall
be
and
fucked
stuff
up.
too.
Yeah.
Because I knew the firewall was there for like a straight 6, but it didn't look like quite enough room for that big Cummins.
Good.
But it worked out okay.
But
You're
man,
worried
that
about-
thing fit right in.
Yeah, you
That
were
was firewall modifications, which is no big deal. I mean,
No,
could have done it.
just cut it out and redo
but it
it.
just would have been more time and stuff though.
What do you think, Bacon? What was your thoughts when you were like, okay, issues we're gonna run into? Boom.
First thing, downpipe. I thought we were gonna have to
Yeah,
either
the
modify
firewall.
the downpipe. I mean, that'd probably be the easiest thing, but off the shelf worked.
And
Almost
first
like
thing
a
I
big
had to do, I had to do a modification. We had to get rid of that silencer ring on that stock turbo.
Oh yes.
We had to do some mods while we're doing this. We can't just make it stop.
Oh, and Lexi thanks you for that. She loves
Yes.
that whistle.
It's
I
awesome.
told him today. I was like, yeah, man. We're cruising up. What was it? What's that hill?
Kirker Pass.
Pass. It's good.
Yep.
And I'm like, baby, I'll try to eliminate that level. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool, man. You know, whatever.
Well, and then when we pulled the body off the old Ram, we also noticed how many cracks and how much that broken that stock exhaust was too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then I talked you into a 4-inch straight pipe on that.
Yes, he did. He talked me into 4-inch straight pipe, and after doing the research, perfect mod.
Yep.
Plus that ring he took out.
Yep.
He's like, there you go, JD, bling, bling, there's 10 more horsepower, or whatever it was. I was like, oh, that's no sweat. I read about it, but I never did
I
it.
think
We're
it's
already,
just
we're already talking about when he comes back in December. Once he does the maiden voyage around the U.S. and he comes back in December, we're going to crank that P-pump up.
Yeah.
We're going to make that thing spin the back tires, no problem.
That's
dude.
the plan.
Yep.
That's the plan.
That's the idea.
I got to work it real nice and easy first.
We may have to do a Christmas burnout contest out here.
Oh shit! Christmas burnouts
Yeah,
might
there
be
we
a
go.
new tradition.
Here we go. We're
Gingerbread
going to start
houses and
something.
Gingerbread
burnouts.
burnout.
Gingerbreads and burnouts.
John helped me quite a bit. He was like, dude, you got to realize when you put the body... I don't mean to talk like you, bro, but that's what's But
Is that what I sound like?
Sometimes.
when you put the body on the frame, it's going to sink down a little bit. Suspension's going to come up, so wheels are going to come up in the wheel wells. In the back might not come up as much in the front, or vice versa. You got to check that stuff. So that's what I did. I was like, man, he's right again, man. So like stuff like that, bouncing off ideas with you guys is like I had to think about it. So anyway,
Because originally we were just gonna mount it,
right, the way
and
it was.
I started thinking, I'm like, truck. So if I put something in the back of the truck, and the back of that truck weighs more than the bed of a truck,
And
so
also,
we set it down on there, and then it sat where it was gonna sit, and then we had to like add or subtract.
Yeah, move it around a little.
And that's when JD added like a 3-inch spacer on the rear on the lift to kind of kick it to counter what it's gonna do.
Yep. First of all, I appreciate y'all taking time out of your days, your families, your work, all that stuff. You know, so many times to lend a hand. Personally, what did you put on that truck? What did you build on that truck?
the body mounts and also the rear frame section.
Some mounting, helped with taking it apart,
Steering
shifter,
shaft.
brake,
That was fun.
steering, welding, helped on the back on the receiver.
Yes, the receiver. Front bumper.
After he put the
Oh, the front
subframe in,
bumper.
I did the
Yeah,
front bumper,
front bumper.
the rear bumper.
The deer duster.
That was us, rear bumper, and the rear mount. He did all the mounting in the rear.
Did you say steering
Lift
shaft?
on it, steering shaft.
That was a big one.
That was a fun day.
Yeah. Steering shaft, brake pedal rod modification.
Some cooling system modifications.
How about you, Brian? What personally you got your hands on?
More than anything, I was there first day when we did all the body swap stuff, and then I came and helped with the steering, and then just a little bit here and there when I got a chance to come over.
The steering shaft was huge because
Yeah, that was a
I didn't
big
think it
one.
was going to fold in. And
We didn't think it was either. We
Magically,
finally got that
y'all
thing to
did.
move.
I got 4, you got 2, you got 1. What?
Yeah, but I've had 2.
Let me put those over there. All right.
No, I look like an alcoholic.
Now you look like an alcoholic. Yeah, that's
I gotta
better.
drive the caddy home too.
the fast
Look at this.
lesson.
I gotta drive the 600 horse caddy all the way home.
At least you'll get there fast.
Yeah, straight to jail too.
All right, so first you got to know that John right here in the middle. He let me not only park the trailer in the private drive back. I call it the alley, but it's like a little gravel road back there.
It's a private driveway.
Yeah, private drive. He not only did that, but he said, JD, here's my welder, here's my tools, get what you want, go in the garage, there's a compressor, this is how you turn it on, this is how you get the water out of the filter, just go, man. And so every day when he'd go to work, I'd hear the gate open, he'd split, I'm like, time to roll. So I'd roll in and start working. And I used all my tools, but I didn't have an air compressor without him. I didn't have a welder without him, a good welder. I have my welder, but it's not as good as that one. And tools.
you know, porta band, bandsaw, body saw.
Body saw.
I like them. I never had a body saw.
I make quick work on a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, man.
Avocado cut.
Yeah, yeah, right. Avocado. I could have used it because I'm used to using a grinder and a welder and you know, stone wheel to get my parts made and whatnot. So anyway, he let me do that. At the same time, I'm in his space. I'm in his backyard. I'm in his literal backyard. And I got tools everywhere because I'm greasy, I'm dirty. It's 100 degrees out. And he comes home from work, and I'm thinking, this dude's looking at my mess like, man, what did I get myself into? So that's the backdrop I wanted you to know. So again, thank you, man. Thank you.
All on the brand new concrete. And
Yeah, oh yeah,
everything, too.
right. Brand new concrete, brand new lift. I'm trying not to drip stuff, but I got metal dust
Your moose has
everywhere.
got some trips. It's
Yeah, I
okay,
got
you know.
diesel dust hanging out.
Hey, it's
dripping.
not like a show driveway.
No.
It's like a work driveway. So if you
Right.
weren't gonna do it, I definitely
Yeah,
was.
one of
so.
us was going to leak all over that.
Well, that's
from
what he
one or the
said.
other.
See, this is what he said. I said, dude, I'm sorry about because we're talking fresh laid concrete, white.
It was still cured.
It was still clean concrete. And then I said, dude, I'm so sorry. I left that mess. I cleaned up the kitty litter stuff. And he goes, dude, you see those burnouts on there? Does it look like I care? Don't worry about it. I'm like, all right, that's cool. All right, thank you, man. So anyway, I just want to give that piece. So anyway, all right, back to the questions at hand.
Wait, don't go yet.
All right.
Let me switch the camera.
Pause. Cut.
Cut.
I'm just gonna see.
How about this? So, talk to me about the missus, man. You got the missus. You got to sell her on this, man. You're like, and she's been way gracious, so sweet.
Actually, she hit the buy it now button
Yeah.
on the lift.
Which is
Hey, babe,
amazing.
you want to come over here?
Yeah.
You're the missus.
Come on,
Come
man.
on, man.
Yeah,
Come on
yeah,
over,
yeah.
Jen. Come on, man. You made this all possible. You made this all possible. Okay, that's later.
Well, all
Not
the,
right
all
here
the
on
wives,
camera.
though. All the wives really.
Right, all the
Yeah,
wives.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. And
Because they all let us come over to play every once in a while. So.
right. And yeah, taking off, you know, time from families and work schedules and just going home and just relaxing. Oh, I'm gonna go, man. Really, you gotta leave and.
Yeah, my wife's the real owner of the business, so she had to write all the checks for, you know, concrete guys and concrete trucks, and she set all that shit up. So she was on board. She knew it was something I wanted to do. So,
Amazing.
And Jamie would say it if she wasn't on board with
Yeah,
it.
she would.
oh, she would have
I
definitely
think
let you
both
know.
of them would.
You wouldn't have been feeling real comfortable. Like,
Yeah.
if my
Yeah.
wife wasn't into it, she'd have fucking let it be known. Huh? Oh, you gotta say it louder. The camera couldn't hear you.
We wouldn't have had as many of these hangout nights either.
Wouldn't have
We wouldn't have had as many of these nights hanging out either if the women were okay with all this stuff. Or if they didn't get along with your wife too.
Right. Yeah, it's been amazing. So let me get back on the camera.
The women make this all possible.
Very
They
much
won't
so,
come
very
on the
much so.
camera, but
They're
the women
the
all
ones
make this
behind the
possible.
scenes that let us do the stupid shit we get to do every day.
That's a good point. We're gonna talk about that.
Ziva. Hey, babe. Just trying to.
So in reality land, dudes like us that build in the backyard using whatever means possible or after research or whatever, this is all backyard stuff. You gotta have a good woman to hang out with you and understand your madness and your weirdness and your greasy, dirty hands and the stuff you go through and the stuff we think about. So we want to say thanks, ladies. We appreciate you. Am I right? To the ladies, yeah, to the wives, we appreciate you. Yeah, all of them.
They're the ones who make it possible.
Yeah, they totally
Otherwise,
make it
we're sleeping on the
possible.
couch.
Yep, they let us be the idiots that we are.
Yeah, because we know we're idiots. We totally understand
Oh,
it,
yeah.
man. But we don't really care if we're idiots, but we know we're idiots. But we don't, we get it,
They're
But
the ones that try to make us not to be idiots in public.
A lot of guys build cars solo. They're stag, and I mean power to them.
Yep.
But I mean that's a whole lot of shower time.
Yeah, it's a shower time.
Oh, man.
Whole lot of soap.
Whole lot of soap.
Hey,
You only buy so much lotion.
then that's another Johnism.
Hey, it's yours. You clean
That's
it as
another
long as you
Johnism. We got to write that whole lot of shower time.
Yeah, we
That's
gotta
a
go over
John-
those.
We got
too
a bunch
at
of
some point.
Johnisms.
We gotta talk about Johnisms at some
Yeah.
point. There's a couple.
Oh, it's on the phone.
There's a couple of notebooks, I'm sure.
We got a nice
full of them,
page
yeah.
going on.
Oh
So,
God, yes.
so the other thing I want to say, and I told these guys many times, but I'm so grateful and thankful that we're able to do it here, plus all the help. But the hospitality. I mean, see, we don't know these cats for very long. We just really met a few months ago, but they were so gracious. They said, "Come in, we'll help you work on it. You got tools." But not only that, they fed us. They took us out for dinner, drinks, dancing, quinceañera. We were part of a quinceañera. We were part of 4th of July celebration with multicultural. That's America, by the way, multicultural. Okay, that's America, man. We were there, and it was rad. It was on. It was beautiful. It was a good party. It was so good. We were throwing cupcakes out of our. Oh, what happened?
We didn't get to see much of it.
Oh,
We were
yeah.
stuck behind the grill.
They were on the
most of the
grill.
time.
But yeah, so just family events, you know, that we're able to be a part of, and so just very, very good. Just
And sorry
so
for the
thankful.
tourists, whoever's window that was.
Yeah, sorry for the tourists with the cake.
With the cake.
Yeah, that's another story for
Oops.
another day. If you have a tourist and it was on whatever boulevard, we won't say the name right now.
No, we're not going to go that far.
Yeah, and it had a cake on it in the morning. That might have been.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. All right, I'm out. Lena, do you have any questions?
Oh, you did great. Anything you want to talk about? Not
Oh
about
yeah,
the
and,
truck?
yeah. Anything you
Hey,
guys
let
want?
me tell you,
Yeah.
when we
Alright.
first met you, at least what I talked about, I had just seen you for the personality that you were on TV.
Oh yeah.
And I thought it was just a personality, so I was ready to hate both of you guys.
Is that
just
right?
for that.
Right.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna make fun of this guy
Like,
to his face just because. But when I finally met you guys, though, you guys were real genuine people, and I really got along with you very well. 'Cause if I wouldn't have invited you to my family functions and stuff.
Right.
So I mean, you guys are basically like family for us. Whether you
And
like
we're a
it or
family
not.
club, so
Yeah.
it's kind of the way we get
Yeah.
down.
Family by fuel, right? That's what you said.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Family by fuel.
Cheers to that one. Fucking
Cheers.
man.
Cheers to you.